Have you ever felt it? That exact point in your journey, no matter the goal that consumes you, mastering a skill that seems impossible, reaching a state of mastery you admire from afar, bringing a project that's your life's dream to fruition. You get there, to that moment where you invest everything. Every ounce of energy you have in your body, every available hour of your day, every thought, every fiber of your being cries out for that result. It's the peak of your desire, the maximum manifestation of your will. You're all in, and it's exactly at that instant, at this peak of total surrender, that it leaves you. Mastery seems further away than ever. The project you built with blood, sweat, and tears begins to crumble in your hands. The skill you practiced obsessively hits an insurmountable plateau. It hurts, it confuses, it makes you question everything. It makes you question yourself. Why? That's the question echoing in your head. Why does the universe, fate, life conspire against you precisely when you give your absolute most? When you're at your limit, giving everything you have? This pain, this feeling of betrayal by your own effort, is real. It's heavy. It's discouraging. But I'm here to tell you something. Pay close attention to this. Prepare to deconstruct this pain. Because the answer to this question that haunts you, it's not out there. It's not in the goal that seems to be escaping you. It's not in the circumstances. The answer, according to the sharp lens of one of the greatest thinkers who ever walked this earth, the answer is in you. And understanding this, diving deep into this truth, it's not just a lesson, it's not just more knowledge, it's a brutal transformation, a transformation that hurts at first. But it's the most liberating thing you will ever experience. Over the next 30 days, you will embark on a practical journey, a journey to understand this cruel dynamic that sabotages you, and most importantly, to rewrite your own story of seeking, of overcoming, of conquering, not the conquest of the external goal, but the conquest of yourself. Listen up. Let's start with the first point, the silent scream of frustrated desire. The concept is cruel in its simplicity. It's almost revoltingly direct. The more you need a result to feel complete, to feel validated, to feel happy, to feel like you're finally good enough, the more this need consumes you, the more slippery that result becomes, the more it seems to escape you. It's like trying to hold water in your hands. The more force you use to squeeze, the faster it slips through your fingers. This need, this craving, this internal urgency, it creates insane pressure inside you. Pressure that distorts your perception of reality, that blinds you to what really matters, and that sabotages your actions in ways you don't even notice. Think about it. You think you're being strong, that you're showing willpower, that you're showing the world and yourself how much you want it. But the challenge here is to recognize that this desperate pursuit, this need that consumes you, although it looks like strength, although it wears the mask of determination, it is, in reality, a deep form of weakness. It's the weakness of dependence on something external to fill an internal void. You don't seek the thing for its own sake, for the beauty of the process, for the learning, for the experience. No, you seek the thing for what it represents, for what it will give you, for what it will heal, for what it will silence inside you, for what it will prove. It represents the validation you lack, the security you don't feel, the happiness that seems unattainable. It represents the cure for your internal lack and this search for external cure. This search to fill the void with something from outside. That's the trap that paralyzes you. Imagine that situation again. You're learning a new language, a new technical skill, something complex, something that requires time, dedication, patience. You dive in head first. You dedicate insane hours of study, hours of exhaustive practice. You deprive yourself of rest, of leisure, of time with loved ones. You focus obsessively on the results of each exercise, each small task, each step. You're there, with your face, buried in books, in code, on the instrument, in training. And every mistake you make, every slip-up, every difficulty that arises, it's a devastating blow. It's like someone punched you in the gut. You internalize it, you feel stupid, incapable, like you'll never succeed. And every small advance, every mini victory you achieve with so much effort, it's quickly overshadowed by the distance, by the gigantic distance still left to reach where you want to be. You feel the frustration throbbing in your temples. You feel the anguish tightening your chest. The internal voice, that cruel voice that lives in your head. It screams that you're not good enough, that you're wasting your time, that you should give up. Have you felt this anguish, this feeling of giving your all, of exhausting your energy, of sacrificing what's important, and receiving emptiness in return, receiving failure, the plateau, stagnation? This feeling, this pain that seems unfair, this is the first clue, the first clear sign that you've fallen into the trap of desperate desire, of desire that turned into need, of desire that became the fragile foundation of your self-image. It's like a guy who's desperate to pass a civil service exam. He studies 20 hours a day, gives up everything, sees his friends going out while he's locked inside. His family is worried, and he's only thinking about the subjects. He thinks of passing as the only way out, the only way to have security, to have status, to prove to others and to himself that he's worth something. The need is so great that it suffocates. During the test, the pressure is so intense that he freezes, forgets what he knew, makes silly mistakes. The fear of not passing is greater than the desire to pass. The need for external validation sabotages his performance, or that entrepreneur who put all their chips on a project, mortgaged the house, worked late nights. That project has to work. It's no longer a matter of vision or passion. It's a matter of survival, of proving they're not a failure. The need to prove, to not fail, to succeed, to finally breathe a sigh of relief. This need blinds them to warning signs, prevents them to pivot when necessary, makes them make decisions based on fear and desperate hope. And the project crumbles, not because the idea was bad, but because the energy behind it was the energy of fear, of need, of lack. This dynamic repeats in all areas of life, in relationships. The guy who needs his partner to love him in a certain way, to feel loved, to feel secure, to feel worthy of love. This need makes him clingy, jealous, suffocating, drives away the person he wants to keep so close. In the pursuit of the ideal body, the need to have defined abs, to lift X pounds, to have the body he sees on social media. This need turns training into torture, diet into deprivation. Each day without seeing the expected result is a day of frustration, of self-judgment. The need steals the joy of the process, the pleasure of movement, the satisfaction of effort. You're killing yourself, giving everything, and the result doesn't come. Or worse, it comes and doesn't fill the void. Because the void isn't about defined abs or the dream job. The void is internal, and you're trying to fill it with external things, with external validation, with external achievements. That's the trap, the first great lesson. Desire that turns into need, desire that clings to the external result. It weakens you, it blinds you, it sabotages you. It creates this insane pain, this feeling of injustice, this feeling that you're fighting against a greater force, but the greater force isn't out there. The greater force, the resistance, the sabotage is inside you, in the form of your attachment, your need, your dependence on the result to define who you are, to define your worth, to define your happiness. Now you might be thinking, okay, I get the pain. I get the trap. So what? What do I do with this? I can't just stop wanting things, stop pursuing goals, stop caring. And you're right, it's not about stopping wanting. It's not about becoming an ascetic monk and renouncing everything. It's not about that. It's about changing the nature of your wanting, changing the energy behind your pursuit, changing your relationship with the result. And this is where the perspective of this great thinker comes in, a perspective that is brutally honest and therefore incredibly liberating. The answer is not in controlling the external world, which is uncontrollable. The answer is in controlling the only place you can control, your internal world, your mind, your reactions, your expectations, your attachment. This idea, this radical shift in focus from external to internal, it's the key, it's the game changer, and it's the second crucial point of our journey, the locus of control and the illusion of the result. In psychology, we talk about locus of control. It's the perception a person has about the causes of events in their life, Someone with an external locus of control believes things happen due to luck, fate, the actions of others, or forces outside their control. Someone with an internal locus of control believes results are a consequence of their own actions, efforts, and choices. Most of us, especially when we're stuck in the trap of desperate desire, operate with a predominantly external locus of control. We believe that success or failure depends on external factors: the boss's approval, others' acceptance, the economy, luck, the market, the universe, and we direct all our energy to trying to manipulate or control these external forces. We kill ourselves working to please the boss. We try to be who others want us to be accepted. We get anxious about economic news. We wait for luck. But the great thinker reminds us of a fundamental truth. Most of the things we pursue, tooth and nail, most of the results we need to feel complete, they are by definition outside our total control. You can study like crazy, but you don't control who your competitors will be. You don't control the examination board. You don't control if your performance on the day will be 100%. You can create the best product in the world, but you don't control the market. You don't control the competition. You don't control if people will want to buy it. You can be the best partner in the world, but you don't control the other person's feelings. You don't control their choices. And while you direct your energy trying to control the uncontrollable, you waste your strength. You get frustrated. You wear yourself out. You feel powerless. Because the illusion is this: we believe that if we want it enough, if we fight hard enough, we will control the outcome. But that's a dangerous illusion. What can we control? Our actions, our effort, our attitude, our preparation, our persistence, our response to challenges, our learning from mistakes, our integrity, our dedication to the process. These things, and only these things, are under our direct control. The liberating perspective is this: true mastery, true strength, doesn't come from controlling the external result. It comes from controlling yourself. It comes from focusing on what is under your control. It comes from finding value and meaning in the process, in the effort, in the action, and not just in the final result. When you shift your focus from the result, external, uncontrollable, to the process, internal, controllable, something magical happens. The pressure decreases, the need dissolves, because your value is no longer tied to something that can be taken away from you at any moment. Your value is in what you are and what you do, not in what you have or achieve externally. Think again about the guy learning the skill. As long as he needs to master the skill to feel intelligent, capable, worthy of respect, he will suffer with each mistake, get frustrated with each plateau. But what if he shifts his focus? What if he decides that the value isn't in being a master tomorrow, but in dedicating himself to the process of learning today, in doing the best he can now, in learning from each mistake as an opportunity for improvement, in finding satisfaction in the practice itself? The need decreases, the pressure eases, frustration with the error transforms into curiosity. Why didn't that work? How can I do it differently? The plateau becomes a challenge to be understood, not proof of incompetence. Paradoxically, by detaching himself from the need for the result, he becomes more effective in pursuing it. He's more present, more focused on the task at hand, less anxious, less sabotaged by his own mind. That's the essence of the second point. Understanding that your desperate pursuit of an external result is an illusion of control. True strength, true freedom, comes from focusing on what you can control: your actions, your effort, your attitude, your internal process. It's about moving your locus of control from external, where you are a victim of circumstances, to internal, where you are the agent of your own life, where you find value in the doing itself, not just in having, where your peace doesn't depend on a future achievement, but on your integrity in the present. And this is where we begin the transition to action, to practice, because understanding this in theory is one thing, feeling it firsthand, living it, is something else entirely. And that's what the next 30 days are for, to take you from theory and throw you into practice, to help you feel this shift in perspective, this shift in energy, This shift in locus of control in your own life, in your own pursuit, it won't be easy, it will hurt, it will require conscious effort, it will require you to confront uncomfortable truths about yourself, but it will be liberating. It will be transformative. Before we dive headfirst into the 30-day plan, into the practical structure for you to apply this in your life, I need to ask you something. If this idea, if this pain of frustrated, desperate desire resonates with you, if you've ever felt this, if this perspective of focusing inward seems powerful to you, even if it's scary, show me, show the community that's in this together. Leave a like on this video now, click on this button. It's a simple gesture, but for me, and for those seeking this same transformation, it means a lot. It means we're not alone in this struggle. It means this message is getting through, and if you're not subscribed to the channel yet, for God's sake, what are you waiting for? Click the subscribe button, hit the bell icon, because this 30-day journey, the next steps, the practical tools, they're coming in the next videos. You won't want to miss this. You can't miss this if you're truly committed to changing this dynamic in your life. And leave a comment below. Tell me, when was the last time you felt this pain, this frustration of giving everything and feeling like the result slipped away? Share your experience, your pain, your search, your hope, your doubt, your anger. Vent, get it out. We're in this together. Your story might be the strength someone else needs to start their own journey. Let's move to the third point, the 30-day journey, from attachment to internal mastery. Okay, you've understood the trap of desire turning into need. You've understood the importance of shifting focus from the external result to the internal process, from the uncontrollable to the controllable. Now, how do we do this in practice? How do we take this powerful idea and turn it into daily action? That's what we'll use the next 30 days for. 30 days is a good amount of time. It's enough time to build awareness, to experiment, to feel the difference, to start building new mental and behavioral habits. It's not enough time to solve all your problems, but it's enough time to change the direction of your boat, to point it towards the right course, towards freedom and internal mastery. The journey will be divided into phases. They are not rigid phases, but they are focuses for each period, to give you a guide, a map, so you don't get lost in the immensity of this transformation. Phase 1. Raw awareness, days 1 to 7. The first week is about seeing reality, without filters, without excuses, without self-deception. It's about bringing to light the dynamic that sabotages you. It's about identifying the silent scream of frustrated desire in your own life. How do you do this? By observing, by paying attention. Every time you feel that pang of intense frustration when something doesn't go as planned, that anger when you make a mistake, that anxiety about the possibility of failure, that urgent need for validation, stop, breathe, and observe what's happening inside you. What thought arises? What is the predominant emotion? Where do you feel it in your body? And more importantly, what is the need behind it? Are you frustrated because the result didn't come? Or because the lack of result makes you feel incapable? Are you angry about the mistake, or angry at yourself for not being perfect? Are you anxious about failing, or about what failing represents about your worth? Write it down, get a notebook, a phone app, whatever, but record it. Write, today, I felt frustrated when the exercise didn't work out. I thought, I'm garbage at this. I felt a tightness in my chest. The need behind this is to prove that I'm intelligent, capable. Be brutally honest. No one else needs to see it. It's just for you. This phase is about creating a map of your own trap, identifying the triggers, the emotions, the automatic thoughts, and the underlying need. The need that traps you for 7 days. Your only job is to observe and record, without judging. Just observe, bring it into consciousness. What is unconscious controls you. What you bring into consciousness, you begin to have power over it. This first week can be uncomfortable, it can be painful. Seeing your own fragility, your own dependence, it's not easy, but it's the first step, the fundamental step. You can't fight an enemy you don't see. This week is about turning on the light, about seeing the trap for what it is. Phase 2, active detachment, days 8 to 15. After a week of observing the trap, you'll start practicing detachment. It's not detachment from the goal. It's detachment from the need for the goal. It's detachment from the identity you've built based on the result. How do you practice this? Start with small things during this week. Choose a simple task in your daily routine. It can be washing the dishes, making the bed, responding to an email, and do this task with mindful attention, focusing only on the action, not on the final result. Clean dishes and made bed, email sent. Focus on the feeling of water on your hands, the smell of soap, the movement of scrubbing, the touch of the sheet, the words you're typing. It's training for your mind to stay in the present, in the action, not to wander to the future, the result, or the past, previous mistakes. Expand this to your main pursuit. If you're studying, during this week, focus only on the action of studying, on reading the page, on understanding the paragraph, on solving the problem, not on the test result. If you're at the gym, focus only on the movement of the exercise, on the muscle contraction, on your breathing, not on the weight you're lifting or the body you want to have. If you're working on a project, focus only on the task you're doing now, on writing that line of code, on making that call, on designing that part, not on the finished project, not on the success it might bring. It's conscious training, an exercise in focusing on the process, on the doing, and not on the having. When the need for the result arises, and it will arise strongly, observe it as you did in the first week, but now add an element, take a deep breath, and say to yourself, mentally or out loud, I am doing my best now. The result is outside my direct control. My worth doesn't depend on this. It's a simple affirmation, but powerful. It reminds you where your true power lies, in your present effort, not in the future result. This week is about feeling the difference that focusing on the process makes. It's about starting to build that bridge from attachment to the result to satisfaction in the doing. It will be difficult. Your mind will resist. It's conditioned to think about the future, about what's missing, about what could go wrong. But persist. Practice active detachment. Every hour, every task. Phase 3. Redefining success. Days 16 to 23. You've spent 2 weeks training awareness and detachment. Now it's time to change your metric for success. Most of us measure success by the external result. Did I pass? Did I make money? Did I reach my weight goal? Did I get promoted? This metric is fragile because the result is, to a large extent, uncontrollable. In this third week, you will start measuring success differently. You will measure success by your effort, by your consistency, by your dedication to the process, by your integrity in the pursuit. At the end of each day, or at the end of each study, training, work session, don't ask yourself, did I get closer to my final goal? Ask yourself, did I give my best today? Was I consistent with my action plan? Did I dedicate myself to the process with integrity? Did I learn something? If the answer is yes, then you were successful that day, that session, even if the external result wasn't what was expected, even if you made mistakes, even if the plateau is still there. This change in metric is revolutionary. It takes away the power of frustration, because frustration usually comes from the comparison between the expected result and the actual result. When you measure success by your effort and your dedication to the process, you're measuring something that is under your control, and you can always give your best. You can always be consistent. You can always dedicate yourself. This doesn't mean you'll ignore the result. The result is still important as feedback, as information. If you're consistently giving your best and the result isn't coming, that tells you that maybe you need to adjust your strategy, or seek help, or learn something new. The result becomes an indicator, not the definition of your success or your worth. During this week, actively practice celebrating effort. Did you give your best on a difficult task? Acknowledge yourself for it. Were you consistent with your study schedule even when you were tired? Congratulate yourself for that discipline. Did you learn something new from a mistake? Celebrate the learning. This week is about reprogramming your brain to find satisfaction and validation in the process, in the effort, in your own action, not just in external achievement. It's about building a solid foundation of self-worth, a foundation that doesn't shake with the ups and downs of the external world. A foundation that is inside you. Phase 4. Building resilience and reconnecting with purpose, days 24 to 30. The final weeks are about consolidating learning and looking ahead with a new perspective. You've experienced awareness, detachment, and redefining success. Now it's time to use this to build true resilience. Resilience isn't not falling. It's falling and getting back up. But more than that, it's falling and learning from the fall. It's seeing the obstacle as part of the path, not the end of it. When you encounter an obstacle in this final week, and life will present you with many, rest assured. A failure, criticism, a disappointing result. Instead of falling into the old trap of frustration and self-judgment, apply what you've learned. First, awareness. Observe the pain, the disappointment. Where do you feel it? What's the automatic thought? What need arises? Second, detachment. Remember that this result doesn't define you. Your worth hasn't decreased. The result is just information. Breathe. Release the need for things to have been different. Third, redefining success. Ask yourself, did I give my best in the process that led to this? If yes, acknowledge your effort. If not, learn from it. What can you do differently next time? Use the result, use the failure, as feedback, as data, not as a final judgment about you. This builds resilience because you stop being afraid of failure. Failure becomes a learning tool, a stepping stone, not an abyss, and finally reconnect with purpose. Why did you start this pursuit in the first place? Not out of a need for validation, but out of passion, curiosity, a desire to learn, the impact you want to make, the person you want to become, the simple joy of doing. This is the pure energy of desire, not the contaminated energy of need. Rediscover that energy, that original passion. Let it move you, not the fear of lack. During this last week, reflect on the journey. What have you learned about yourself? How has your relationship with the pursuit changed? How do you feel now when something doesn't go as planned? This 30-day journey isn't the end. It's just the beginning. It's the beginning of a new way of living, a new way of seeking, a new way of relating to success and failure. It's the beginning of building your internal mastery. Remember the FA. Like I asked for earlier, and subscribing if you haven't done it yet. Do it now. Seriously, this is the moment. This journey needs you committed. It needs you involved. And if you've made it this far, if you've heard all of this, and something inside you stirred, even if it's just a spark, an unease, a hope, then you're on the right path. And I want to see you in the next videos. I want to see you applying this. I want to see your transformation. And the comment, have you left it yet? Tell your story, your struggle, your hope. We build this community of strength and vulnerability together. The fourth and final point, the brutal and liberating transformation. You've gone through this journey, 30 days of introspection, practice, and redefinition. What happens on the other side? Transformation. And it's brutal in the sense that it dismantles old comfortable but limiting beliefs. And it's liberating because it frees you from the chains of attachment and need. The pressure has decreased, the need has dissolved, or at least it's decreased enough not to sabotage you anymore. Do you still want the result? Of course you do. Desire is natural. The desire for growth, for achievement, for impact, it's part of what drives us. But now, you want it from a different place. You want it from abundance, not from lack. You seek from strength, not from need. You pursue the goal, not because you need it to be happy or validated, but because it's an expression of who you are, what you value, what you want to contribute, because the process of pursuing it allows you to grow, allows you to learn, allows you to manifest your potential and your happiness, your worth, your peace. They are no longer there at the finish line of the external goal. They are here, now, in your present effort, in your integrity in the process, in your ability to find meaning in the doing itself. Paradoxically, when you detach from the need for the result, you become more effective at achieving it, less anxious, more focused, more resilient, less likely to sabotage yourself. You operate from a place of calm strength, not noisy desperation. You will still face challenges, you will make mistakes. You will have bad days, that's life. But your response to them has changed. The pain of intense frustration has been replaced by a milder disappointment, a curiosity about what went wrong, a quiet determination to try again, to adjust, to learn. The cruel internal voice has lost its power because it fed on your need to be perfect, on your dependence on external validation. Now your validation comes from within, from your effort, your dedication, your integrity. This is the transformation. It's internal mastery. It's the power to choose your response, to choose where to place your focus, to find value in yourself, regardless of external circumstances. It's the freedom to pursue your goals with passion, with dedication, with focus, without the crushing weight of need, without the paralyzing fear of failure. You become unstoppable, not because you never fail, but because failure no longer defines you, because your strength no longer depends on the result. It depends on you, on your ability to keep moving, to keep learning, to keep giving your best. Day after day, task after task, focus on the process, trust in the effort, freedom from the result. That's the essence. That's your new reality. If you dedicate yourself to this journey for 30 days and beyond, this is the perspective the great thinker offers us, not a magic formula for external success, but a path to internal success, to find peace and strength within yourself, to stop fighting against the external world, and start building your internal empire, the empire of your mind, your attitude, your character, and from this solid foundation, this inner strength, you can build whatever you want in the external world, or not, and still, you will be complete. You will be at peace. You will be free. The silent scream of frustrated desire, the illusion of external control, the trap of need, all of this can be deconstructed. The answer is within you, in your focus, your attitude, your detachment, your redefinition of success, your building of resilience, your reconnection with pure purpose. This 30-day journey, it's your starting point. It's your invitation to this transformation, to this freedom, to this mastery. The choice is yours. Do you stay trapped, giving everything and receiving emptiness? Or do you embark on this journey and discover the brutally liberating force that exists within you? The force of someone who doesn't need the result to be. The force of someone who finds value in the path itself. The force of someone who knows that true conquest is the conquest of oneself. The decision is now. Begin. The journey awaits you, and so does your new story. It's time to rewrite it with the pen of your own will, focused on what truly matters, you and your process every day, starting today, now.